traffic on here is rather crowded and rather noisy, and at this point in the evening, still rather jubilant headquarters of Judge Robert Hughes, the Democratic 3rd District Congressional candidate. Judge Hughes, earlier in the evening, the returns were showing you behind, and they still do at this point. What do you think about this trend?
Well, I'm not a bit worried about the trend at this point. I expected those boxes as they were. In fact, I was happy about those boxes, and we're expecting to climb over the top.
When do you expect your votes will be coming in? When do you expect to pull ahead during the evening?
Well, they could be coming in now. I don't know what order the boxes will come in, but the boxes that I do know by number, I'm happy with.
Can you go so far as to predict an actual margin of victory for yourself?
Only that it'll be a narrow margin, but it will be a victory.
You think it'll go early into the morning hours?
Well, I don't know about that. It could.
Thank you very much, Judge Hughes.
Well, locally, of course, Dallas County has come up with a tremendous margin for Dick Nixon, and this is one thing I really want to talk about. I have been in contact with the courthouse and down there where they're counting the ballots, and apparently they're having some little trouble, and they want to stop counting at 2 o'clock this morning. So we got in contact with the Secretary of State's office, Mary Kay Wall, and she quoted Section 8.19 of the election code, which says specifically that once you start counting, you have to continue counting continuously until they are done. Now, Texas is really close, and the margin for victory in Texas for Nixon will come out of Dallas County. We don't think that our people here or across this country ought to wait until Judge Sterrett or anybody else decides that he's rested enough to count those ballots. If they won't count them, we will.
Are you going to press for a Republican count of the ballots if they elect to stop now?
Well, if they elect to stop now, they are in direct violation of the Texas election code, and we'll press that just as hard as we can. Our people are down there. We're going to insist that they keep counting until those ballots are counted, because we don't know what's going to happen to the ballots if somebody stays with them overnight. We want them counted tonight.
Congressman Collins, these early returns are giving you a pretty substantial lead. How do you feel about it? You seem to have been able to garner a lot of people here for a victory party.
I was just thrilled to death. I didn't dream that anybody would be here, and we've already started filling the room. I know by 11 o'clock we'll have a big crowd out.
Congressman, let me ask you this. How do you feel about the campaign itself? Were you able to get a fair shake with the national politics overshadowing everything?
Well, of course, when you run for Congress, everybody is primarily interested in the national race. But we were interested in having so much volunteer support. As you can see, really, our campaign was based on all the wonderful volunteers that they've just been tremendous all the way from Farmers Branch to Grand Prairie and Irving, Duncanville, everywhere, Oak Cliff.
Well, if you do win, as it appears in these early returns, to what would you attribute that most of all?
Well, I'd certainly attribute it to all these fine people who've done so much work for us. I think we just got a tremendous grassroots support. We really do. And if I say one thing, if there's anybody out there that doesn't have a chance, we'd like for them to come down here and join us tonight. It's so much fun to have all of our friends together.
Murphy, while here at the Royal Coach Inn, where Republicans are meeting for an anticipated victory meeting, one of the things that rumor has it is that this will be one of the last victory meetings under the direction of Fred Agnich, who is the county Republican chairman. We have Fred here with us. Fred, are the rumors true? Is this your last in charge of a victory meeting for the Republicans?
Well, the way I feel about that is like Mark Twain said about the reports of his death, a little premature. I wouldn't hazard any guess about what my future plans will be. I'm obviously not going to remain as county chairman forever, but I have no plans for any departure in the immediate future.
What about the Republican Party in Dallas County? How has it progressed in the last several years?
Well, I think that it has made a tremendous comeback from the devastating defeat that we suffered in 1964. I think it shows the vitality of the party. I think that from now on there isn't going to be any question whatsoever that Dallas County is not only a two-party county, but I suspect it may well turn out to be a Republican county. And I think that this is going to be true of the state. I expect the party to progress and to grow even stronger and become more of a force in the county than ever before.
I'm here at the Mike McCool headquarters on New End, the election night headquarters of Mike McCool, the Democratic candidate for Senate against Rob Stewart. And the word seems to be confidence here tonight. Despite the narrow results in the voting, why are you so confident?
Well, I think that's right, but I think the best part of this is the fact that our precincts are just beginning to come in, and only 2 of our good precincts have come in, and we just received news of precinct 318 that voted 733 for McCool and 17 for Stewart. And also precinct 325 has come in, 900 for McCool and 6 for Stewart.
Frank Crowley, the situation looks pretty grim right now. If you should lose this election, what are your plans for the future?
Well, this isn't a one-shot proposition with me, Phil. I entered public service a number of years ago. I've dedicated my life to it, and the likelihood is that I would continue to.
According to Texas law, can you retain your post as county commissioner if you should lose this election?
No. As of December 31st, I am no longer county commissioner, however this election goes.
What about the situation countywide? Do the Republicans look as though they're in pretty good shape?
Well, frankly, if this election has demonstrated anything, once more, I think it's demonstrated that the voter is perfectly knowledgeable as to how to split his ticket. I note from a number of the races we're trailing and a number of races we're ahead. And frankly, I think this is an encouraging thing.
In a two-party state, a loss of several thousand votes would mean a different thing than it does here. But the Republicans seem to have gained a great deal, even though they're losing several races. What does this mean?
Again, as I say, Bill, I think it means that the voter is perfectly competent to split his ticket. He picks and chooses today.
Do you think this will indicate a move forward for the Republican Party in the future?
Oh, I do indeed. I don't think there's any question about it. We're here to stay.
And do you think that the Republicans will continue to be a prime force in Texas politics?
Indeed, I do. Look at this room full of people about you. You've got some enthusiastic people here, willing workers, and on that basis, I think we're here to stay.
What will be your next move in politics now, Frank?
As of tonight, I couldn't say. In fact, I'm not prepared to make any statements about tonight's outcome yet.
Of course, I think it's going to be close because it's a district race and it's not a county-wide race. And of course, I'd be most happy if I win by one vote, but I think we're going to win by a good vote.
What would be a good vote in your opinion?
Oh, I think in a district race, anything over 3,500, 5,000 is a good vote.
What do you think the principal issue has been throughout this campaign?
Well, I think that there has been in this campaign no one issue that has stood out above others. In the first campaign that I ran with Jim Wade, the incumbent state senator, the campaign issue there, I think, was a question of neglect, and I think I've made my point with that issue. But in this campaign, I think it's a question of which of the two candidates can best represent the 16th district and which one is better able and better qualified to do the job.
Do you think you've successfully told your story? Have the people been responding to the message that you've been giving around the area?
Well, I think the way we find that out is when we find out who got the most votes. And if I get the most votes, I pretty well told the story. If I don't, why then, of course, I didn't.
Most comfortable, and it's something that's quite frankly most unusual to us Republicans, but it's a good district, and I hope I've represented the district well in the past, and I hope that as the returns indicate that they're willing to return me to represent them for 4 more years.
Of course, you're popular in the district, as is evidenced by the vote, but you're going to be in a minority when you get to the legislature. What do you plan to do as a minority man down there?
I found that to be no problem in the last session of the legislature, to be in the minority, because you work with, on a bipartisan basis, you work with the members of the Senate. And when you have a common goal, a common plan, if it's in the best interest of Dallas County and the state of Texas, it doesn't really matter what party you belong to. I found that my service on the Senate Finance Committee, the State Affairs Committee, the Insurance Committee, the various committees that Preston Smith appointed me to, working with the members of the Senate, I had no problem being a member of a different party when the majority was.